Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program this evening, there is good news for Narendra Modi after an Ahmedabad court upholds the clean chit given to the BJP's prime ministerial candidate by the special investigation team probing the 2002 riots. Is this the end of the battle for Zakia Jafri, the wife of Ehsan Jafri, who was butchered with dozens of other people in the Gulbarg Society massacre? Or is there still hope? And politically, will it now be smooth sailing for Narendra Modi ahead of the big general elections in a few months? Also coming up, a special interview with R.K. Raghavan, the head of the special investigating team, and his first reactions to today's order endorsing his report.
This is the best that we could put up after enormous hard work by a set of investigators of the greatest skill and integrity. I don't think we could. We are not superhumans. We did the best.
But if that was the good news, there was not so good news as well for Narendra Modi. The centre has announced a probe into the Snoopgate controversy today, setting up a judicial commission of inquiry to go into charges of how the Gujarat government, allegedly at the behest of those close to Modi, spied on a young woman in 2009. But first, our top story.
A major victory for the BJP's prime ministerial candidate over a Gujarat riot widow. An Ahmedabad court has upheld the clean chit given to Narendra Modi by the Supreme Court appointed special investigation team probing the Gujarat riots of 2002. It was the only criminal case against him. In its 440-page order, the court said there was no conspiracy on the part of the Chief Minister and his cabinet as they showed alacrity in requisitioning the army. The court also questioned the credibility of IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt, who had claimed that he attended a meeting chaired by Modi on February 27th, in which he had told the police to go slow on rioters. The court says there is no relevant evidence that Mr. Modi made the controversial statement, and there is no evidence to prove Sanjeev Bhatt was even present at the meeting. And that Modi's statement on action and reaction should also be seen in toto, and no sections in the IPC can be invoked for this.
There were several points of differences between amicus curiae Raju Ramachandran and SIT. While the SIT said there was no prosecutable evidence against the Gujarat Chief Minister, Raju Ramachandran, on the other hand, said there were evidences which could result in further probe against the Chief Minister. In the end, the court upheld the SIT findings.
Zakia Jafri, the woman who took Modi to court for conspiracy, says she's saddened but will not give up.
10 साल में न्याय नहीं मिला है और अभी भी आप के अंदर एक आशा एक उम्मीद जागी हुई है।
मिलेगा क्यों नहीं मिलेगा, उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है। जरूर लड़ूंगी और कुछ भी करूंगी और हिम्मत नहीं हारूंगी।
Soon after the verdict, Modi tweeted, "Satyameva Jayate, the truth alone triumphs."
He faced an adversity and he has emerged stronger in this adversity. राजनीतिक से ज़्यादा मोदी जी का और जो हमारी पार्टी आज तक कहती रही है, मैं इसको एक अपनी पार्टी की और मोदी जी की नैतिक जीत मानता हूं।
With the court here confirming the SIT's clean chit to Narendra Modi, the NDA's prime ministerial candidate has cleared a major hurdle. Elated, Narendra Modi tweeted, "Satyameva Jayate, truth alone triumphs." The BJP will now hope to translate this victory by winning more allies and votes in the 2014 general elections. With Rohit Bhan in Ahmedabad, Tejas Mehta for NDTV.
Interestingly, the centre announced a probe into the Snoopgate controversy today, setting up a judicial commission of inquiry to go into charges of spying on a young woman in 2009. The decision was taken by the cabinet today, despite the Modi government already setting up a similar panel. The BJP slammed the move, calling it an affront to states. This evening, the Home Minister told reporters that the probe would also cover Arun Jaitley's phone tapping case, as well as the case relating to snooping on the Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh when the BJP was in power.
किसी का वेंडेटा हम नहीं ये करते हैं, रिवेंज नहीं लेने का करते हैं, मैं सुन रहा हूं, ये ऐसी बात नहीं है और इसमें किसी तरह का पॉलिटिक्स नहीं। वो सीडीआर के तो वही केसेस है, क्योंकि उनकी भी पार्लियामेंट में क्वेश्चन हो गया था, जेटली जी ने क्वेश्चन किया था उस पर, वो भी हम मंगवा रहे। हिमाचल के बारे में वो जब सत्ता में नहीं थे, वहां के चीफ मिनिस्टर, उनके वक्त लिया था तो उनकी कंप्लेंट है।
इट्स अ फोनी कमीशन। ये एक फर्जी कमीशन ऑफ इंक्वायरी है। राज्य सरकार के खिलाफ जब आरोप लगे तो उसकी राजनीतिक पृष्ठभूमि आप समझ लीजिए। इस सो कॉल्ड स्नूप स्कैंडल के अलावा 3 और मामले थे जिसमें मोदी जी को फंसाने का षड्यंत्र था। इसका मैं पहले भी जिक्र कर चुका हूं। पहला मामला था शराबुद्दीन वाला, जिसमें सीबीआई की फाइल पे यह नोटिंग है, जब उनके लीगल डिपार्टमेंट ने कहा कि अमित शाह के खिलाफ केस नहीं बनता, तो यह टिप्पणी की गई कि इसलिए केस बनाना जरूरी है कि मुख्यमंत्री तक पहुंचने का एक रास्ता है। इस नोट का मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को जो पत्र लिखा था सीबीआई पे, उसमें भी जिक्र किया। उसमें नहीं फंसा पाए।
So welcome news for the BJP as far as the Modi case is concerned. The lower court in Gujarat basically saying that the SIT report closure was accepted. The plea of Zakia Jafri was rejected. But then there is this probe announced by the centre on the so-called Snoopgate inquiry. The BJP says that that is rubbish. It is not a genuine probe by any means. We are going to be looking at this. Joining us, Piyush Goyal, Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP, Shakti Singh Goyal, senior leader of the Congress party, Javed Anand, member of the Citizens for Peace and Justice, Zafar Sareshwala, businessman from Ahmedabad. But first, let me just go across to Piyush Goyal. Piyush, let's just look at what happened in court today as far as the plea of Zakia Jafri was concerned. Now, there are a lot of people who would say that despite the clean chit for Narendra Modi, there are question marks on whether those words clean chit can actually be used. Because if you look at the SIT report, there is a lot over there which detractors of Mr. Modi would feel still must be investigated.
Vishnu, I'm surprised you're still harping on the same issue. Very clearly, the closure report says the SIT is of the view that the offences under the aforesaid sections of law are not made out against Shri Narendra Modi. I mean, you can keep harping on it till the cows come home, but the fact of life is the truth has prevailed. We have been saying this for the last 11 years. The Congress government has tried at every step, as Mr. Jaitley just said, they have tried to nail Mr. Modi in a series of possible issues that they could try and drum up. They have fabricated evidence. Their leaders have been involved in cooking up affidavits, in probably trying to make witnesses change their statements to suit their convenience. I don't know with what incentive. They have tried everything under the book, but the truth has prevailed. They are most welcome to go to appeal. Nobody denies them the right. But I think it's high time that news journalists and channels started taking an unbiased view.
No, but
and
why?
The reality
but without getting into the bias or the unbiased perspective of this, Piyush, let's just look at the order. What you're saying is saying. You've read out a part of the order, but if you look at today's order in 3 parts, let me make my point. Today's order says no conspiracy in requisitioning the army. It's a clean chit for the Modi government. But if you look at the SIT report itself, not its conclusions, but the report, it says that while the army was brought out on the 27th, while it was asked to come on the 27th of February, its deployment could only take place in the afternoon of the 1st of March. The SIT reports the slackness in deploying the army. So again, question marks can be raised. That's one point. The other point, today's report says no evidence to suggest that dead bodies were paraded. Fair enough. But what the SIT report says is that the bodies of 54 victims were handed over to VHP leaders Jaideep Patel and Hasmukh Patel, and therefore question marks can be raised over there as well. So my question to you is, isn't there enough in the SIT report for some people to say that there is still ground for investigation?
Well, I've read the whole SIT report. It very clearly says that the army was, due to Operation Parakram at the Rajasthan border, the government was immediate in its response. They flagged off the issue to Delhi. The Honorable Defence Minister himself flew down to Gandhinagar to take stock
correct.
of the situation.
Absolutely. It was deployment of the army once they reached the ground. It was not
and
actually
after they
bringing
reached the ground,
to the areas.
The police was deployed along with them, vehicles were given to them, mobile phones were given to them. They were on the streets on the 28th. That's the reality. We can look back into history, we can go back into the dates at that point of time.
Okay,
Secondly,
which the SIT has done.
We have the
Go ahead,
NHRC report also which has said this,
Yes.
that the army was deployed without delay. Thirdly, curfew was imposed. The police was given shoot at sight orders on day one, on the 27th itself. So I have so many documents here with me. I can read out 100 things.
No,
that
we've
the
all
state
got
government
documents
did,
and we are looking at
which
different
were
parts possibly of the
perfectly-
SIT report. But I take your point. Piyush,
Well, and the
I take your
bottom line
point.
is, the bottom line is that
yes,
they have said,
I take your point.
the
I
bottom
just
line
want-
is that the court has said the SIT closure report is final. They do not find any reason to interfere in it.
Okay, let me go across to Mr. Gohil. Mr. Gohil, the BJP believes that there has been propaganda in the past as far as Narendra Modi is concerned, that once and for all, there is a particular order from a court, let that be respected, let the ghosts of the past once and for all disappear, let Mr. Modi contest these elections going forward without any of this hanging behind him. Or do you believe that what the BJP says isn't acceptable?
Look, Vishnu, two things. One is that the report which was prepared by SIT and the findings were also given by SIT and it was submitted before the Supreme Court. Now, 3 judges of the Supreme Court went through the report and findings. And the version of the Supreme Court was that the findings and the report, that doesn't match. And that is why the report was given to amicus curiae, who is enjoying a very good reputation. He studied the report, he came to Gujarat and finally he gave the report, and the amicus report says that there is evidence on which the further investigation, prosecutions and charge sheet can be filed. So there is 2 different things. For the work of SIT, we doubted because the team which was selected by Mr. Raghavan, there was a tinted officers and finally Supreme Court had to remove them also. The one more thing is today Mr. Piyush Goyal is saying that okay, trial court's order is there, this is a clean cheat, everything is fine. Now look at the double standard of BJP. Just few weeks back, one minister of Modi government convicted by trial court, we said that he is now convicted, but they said that no, the right to appeal is pending. So if there is an order of conviction against my minister, then also he will continue.
To appeal, right? They've not denied any. In fact, just now,
But here they are saying that clean
Piyush
cheat.
said that anybody
I
has
just
the right
said
to
it half
appeal.
a minute
So
back.
that he cannot. He's no,
Yes, Vishnu.
Yes.
Vishnu.
Yes.
Well, let me just give me 1 minute.
Yes.
What I am saying is that in case of his minister, when there is an order of conviction, they said this is not conviction. Here the report of SIT is accepted and BJP is celebrating that this is a clean cheat, final order. Like that they are celebrating firecrackers and everything. So the double standard. When the minister is convicted, they said no, this is not
Okay.
final.
All right. Let me go across to Javed Anand. Let me go across to Javed Anand. I'll come back to Mr.
May I just read out from the report regarding the dead bodies since you flagged off that issue?
Yeah, go ahead.
The report, SIT report's findings are as follows. SIT has concluded that the decision
read
was
the
taken
further thing.
with
Don't
a
go in a
view
findings.
that the
Findings were
train
not
was
accepted.
heading towards. Can he stop interrupting, please? SIT has concluded that the decision was taken with a view that the train was heading towards Ahmedabad. Therefore, the relatives of the deceased would be residents of Ahmedabad and nearby areas, and it would be easy for them to collect the bodies. The dead bodies were not paraded as alleged. Therefore, the allegation is not established. And
But
for your
Piyush-
kind information,
But Piyush,
for
there is
your
another
kind
part
information, the
of
observations
that
are
SIT report which
observations
says
of the
ML
Supreme
Nalvaya,
Court
executive
is
magistrate of
the
Godhra at that
findings
time,
of the
has
SIT.
testified before
Vishnu,
the
you must allow
SIT
somebody
that the
to
bodies
complete.
of
You
54
must allow somebody to
victims were
complete.
handed over to VHP leaders Jaideep Patel and Hasmukh Patel. Right?
Yes.
Well, I am
And
reading
that's-
out from the SIT
No,
report.
I know you're reading out, but another part of the SIT report, I've got points with me over here, also says that. So, while what
if
you're
the-
saying,
Even the collector has said
we
no,
can't question the
don't
court.
take it to
And the
Ahmedabad.
court has said that these bodies were not paraded. So, I'm not questioning that point at all. I'm merely saying
Right, now
that there
these-
are other parts of the report which seem to indicate that there is more to be probed. It's a limited point
There
I'm making.
There was a dastardly and very ghastly killing of those 58 car sevaks by burning them in a train. Mr. Shankar Gohel and all their Congress leaders have to date not raised
what
their
your
voice
chief minister
about
was
the
doing. It
apathy
was
and
his
the
duty to
bad,
protect car sevaks.
thing that happened to those 58
Why don't you
people.
accept that?
And they have no sympathy for the fact that they were VHP car sevaks.
Let me tell him
the
on this.
VHP very solemnly took those bodies.
Okay.
I hope they had some sympathy for
Vishnu.
that dastardly act that was carried out over there.
Mr. Goel, answer that point.
Yes, the two things. One is that first part is the collector Godra has said, don't take these dead bodies together to Ahmedabad. Let us have a post-mortem here and let it go to the respective families. That decision of the collector was overruled by Chief Minister. One. The second is, it was the duty of the Narendra Modi to protect car sevaks. आप पहले राम के सेवकों को जलने देते हो या जलाते हो, बाद में रहीम के बंदों को मरवाते हो. Wasn't it duty of the Chief Minister to protect the car sevaks? We were in power. Congress government was here. And in 1992, maximum car sevaks went from Gujarat. एक को खरोच नहीं आने दी थी पीयूष गोयल जी. That is administration. So why don't you accept that? राम के नाम पे वोट लेने के बाद राम सेवक को जलने दिया आपके शासन में. Who is responsible for that? आपको राम के नाम पे राजनीति करनी है. राम सेवक मरे. Who is responsible?
One moment. Piyush,
why didn't you protect them? Why
panelists.
proper protection was not provided?
Shakti Singh ji, just one moment. You made your
Don't
point.
you think that
let
was a
let
failure
Piyush
of
reply
Modi?
before I go to my other panelists who've been waiting very patiently. Piyush, go ahead.
आई थिंक बड़ी दुर्भाग्य की बात है अगर ये इस प्रकार का आरोप लगा रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारी सरकार, माय गवर्नमेंट, शक्ति सिंह जी, took all precautions to maintain peace and harmony. I suspect that the way you are talking, whether there was some alleged conspiracy behind what happened to those car sevaks.
Yes.
And certainly, we did not sit and wait for thousands of Sikhs to be murdered under the watch of your government in Delhi, without calling the army out for 4 days and making
Rajiv Gandhi was on the road and Modi had not visited any affected area.
I can only tell you,
Rajiv Gandhi was on
my
road.
government took
His
action.
mother's dead body was lying, and Rajiv Gandhi was on the road.
Took action
for the
against
harmony,
all the wrongdoing,
for the peace.
Your government has not even taken action against the people who perpetrated.
My government, my prime minister was on the road.
Okay, look, both of you are talking at the top of your voices. Let me go across to my other panelists before I come back to you. Javed Anand, if you look at the SIT report and some of its criticism, and some of that criticism has actually come from Raju Ramchandran's report, the amicus curiae in this particular case, appointed by the Supreme Court. It basically seems to indicate the role of Sanjeev Bhatt, the senior police officer, and it also boils down to this meeting which took place on the 27th of February 2002. Now, today's judgment seems to have backed the version of the SIT, whereas Raju Ramchandran in his report clearly says that the version or the account of Sanjeev Bhatt on what really transpired in that meeting is all important and needs to be considered irrespective of what other concerns they may exist on this officer.
Vishnu, to begin with, I'm sorry, I'm committed to another channel, so I have to go in a few minutes. So may I request you to give me a few minutes, please, so I can have my say. Before I come to the Sanjeev Bhatt, this thing, except for the fact that we are discussing some very serious issues, what Mr. Piyush Goyal says is quite amusing. He begins by talking about Satyamev Jayate and then proceeds to dish out a series of lies. He's talking about, for example, curfew being imposed immediately. I challenge him to establish that the curfew was imposed before 1 o'clock on February 28 in Ahmedabad city, the city in which on 28th February over 200 people were massacred. Point number one. Point number two is he's read only the CIT report. I have also read the protest petition. And the protest petition has got, basing itself on evidence collected by CIT itself, has a huge amount of damaging evidence, which I unfortunately do not have the time to go through just now. And therefore I will not go into it. To quickly come to the Sanjeev Bhatt issue, the amicus curiae has opined, and many other lawyers and people from the legal fraternity have since said that if there is prima facie evidence, it is not for the police to establish whether it is absolutely true or not. The evidentiary value of a prima facie statement or has to be established through the trial process in a court of law. Now, quite disappointingly, the magistrate today has kind of come to the same conclusion as sit, but this is only step one of the justice process as far as Zakia Jafri petition is concerned, and this petition incidentally has been there before. Zakia Jafri first wanted to file a complaint in June 2006, starting from Meghanagar police station.
You're going into a larger issue. I value that.
Sorry,
Mr. Anand, tell me one thing. Is it your central argument?
Yeah.
You shall come to you next. Mr. Anand, is it your central argument that the SIT was flawed in its constitution, flawed in its investigations, and was under pressure to deliver something which was against the interests of justice?
I would certainly say, and we've said this before, that the SIT has done a cover-up job rather than doing a proper investigation. And
well, that's a slap on the face of the Supreme Court then. I think that's an allegation that's being made by
Supreme
the
Court.
esteemed
Supreme
panelists
Court has
on the
appointed
Supreme Court
it.
which appointed
Please do
the
not,
SIT. So that means
please do not put
three
words
SITs
in my
were
mouth.
appointed.
I
Anybody
am
who does
not
not give a
challenging the
favorable verdict
Constitution.
is wrong.
I am not. I just told you that there was no favorable verdict in Zakia Jafri case in the Sessions Court and the High Court. She had to go to the Supreme Court. It was the Supreme Court 2 years later that directed the appointment of sit. It is the Supreme Court that ensured investigation was taking place. It did take place when the Gujarat government and police refused to even lodge an FIR.